In a world filled with uncertainty, fear, and unanswered questions, there is one name that echoes through history as the definition of faith. A man who walked into the unknown without a map, without guarantees, and without proof, yet trusted God completely. His story is not just ancient history. It is a mirror of our own lives today. This is the story of Abraham, the man whose faith changed human destiny forever. Long before nations were formed and before faith had a name, the world was drifting away from God. People worshipped idols made of stone and wood, trusting human strength more than divine guidance. In the city of Ur, a prosperous and advanced place for its time, lived a man named Abram. He had comfort, family, security, and a future that looked stable by human standards. But what he did not have was a clear purpose that satisfied his soul. Then one day, without warning, without explanation, the voice of God broke the silence of Abram's ordinary life. God called him to leave everything familiar behind his land, his relatives, his inheritance, and journey toward a place he had never seen. God did not show him the destination. He only gave him a promise that through him all nations of the earth would be blessed. This moment marks one of the most powerful turning points in biblical history. Abram could have refused. He could have asked for proof, demanded security, or waited for a sign. Instead, he chose obedience. With no roadmap and no certainty, Abram packed his belongings, gathered his family, and stepped into the unknown. Faith in its purest form was born through a simple act of obedience. As Abram journeyed through unfamiliar lands, his faith was tested again and again. There were moments of fear, moments of doubt, and moments of human weakness. When famine struck the land, Abram fled to Egypt, relying on his own wisdom rather than trusting God fully. Fear led him to lie about his wife Sarai, putting both of them in danger. Yet even in Abram's failures, God remained faithful. This teaches us a powerful truth. Faith is not perfection. It is persistence. God continued to renew his promise, reminding Abram that his descendants would be as numerous as the stars in the sky. But years passed, and Sarai remained childless. Time tested their faith deeply. In their impatience, Abram and Sarai attempted to fulfill God's promise by human effort, leading to the birth of Ishmael. This decision brought conflict and pain, revealing that God's promises cannot be rushed or replaced by human plans. Still, God did not abandon Abram. Instead, he did something extraordinary. God changed Abram's name to Abraham, meaning father of many nations, and Sarai's name to Sarah, meaning princess. These name changes were declarations of identity before fulfillment, a reminder that God speaks destiny even before evidence appears. When Abraham was 99 years old, God reaffirmed his covenant, promising that Sarah herself would bear a son. The promise seemed impossible. Sarah laughed. Abraham struggled to understand. Yet God's power is not limited by age, biology, or circumstance. At the appointed time, Isaac was born, the child of promise, the living testimony of God's faithfulness. But just when the joy of fulfillment settled in, Abraham faced the greatest test of his life. God asked him to offer Isaac, the promised son, as a sacrifice. This command shook the foundation of everything Abraham believed. Isaac was not only his son, he was the future, the promise, the evidence of God's word. To give him up seemed to contradict everything God had said. Yet Abraham did not argue. He did not delay. He rose early in the morning and set out for the mountain God had shown him. Every step toward that mountain was a step of surrender. Every moment carried unimaginable pain. Still, Abraham trusted that God could even raise the dead, if necessary. When Isaac asked, "Where is the lamb for the sacrifice?" Abraham spoke words that echo through eternity. God will provide. And indeed, at the final moment, God intervened, providing a ram in Isaac's place. This moment revealed a profound truth. God never desired the sacrifice of Isaac. He desired Abraham's heart. Through this act, Abraham demonstrated ultimate faith. His obedience foreshadowed a greater sacrifice to come, pointing toward God's own Son, Jesus Christ. Abraham's faith was not just personal, it was prophetic. God reaffirmed his covenant, promising blessings beyond measure, and confirming that through Abraham's seed, salvation would come to the world. Abraham's story reminds us that faith often requires surrender, patience, and trust beyond understanding. Abraham lived the rest of his life as a pilgrim, never fully possessing the land promised to him, yet dying in faith. His legacy did not depend on what he saw, but on what he believed. Today, billions trace their spiritual heritage back to Abraham, making him the father of faith across generations. His story teaches us that faith is a journey, not a destination. It grows through obedience, matures through waiting, and is refined through testing. Abraham shows us that God's promises may take time, but they never fail. He does not always explain. When he promises, he does not rush. And when he tests, he strengthens. Abraham's life proves that those who trust God fully will never walk alone. If you are standing at the edge of uncertainty today, unsure of your future, remember Abraham. Faith begins when comfort ends. Purpose is found when obedience starts, and destiny unfolds when trust remains firm. This is not just Abraham's story. It is an invitation to live by faith, to trust when answers are hidden, to obey when outcomes are unclear, and to believe that God's promises are greater than fear, stronger than doubt, and faithful through every season of life.